Okay, so I'm honestly feeling super awesome right now. Let's see if I can get this camera angle any better. Okay, we're gonna be crooked, I guess. Fine, I'll just do the low angle that makes my double chin really hard. But okay, so I wanted to make a car thoughts video as I drive home because I have really found a way to just like overcome executive dysfunction for myself. Not all the time, but for like the really important things. So yesterday, my son's pediatrician, well, not him specifically, but the place he practiced at, reached out to me via email and was like, hey, by the way, your pediatrician no longer is with us. And they just kind of left it at that. And so me in the past, 100%, I know myself, and me in the past would have, one, let that really make me anxious because I hate phone calls and appointment setting and all that, but I do it so goddamn often. I shouldn't be afraid of it or made anxious by it, right? But I am still, so that is a thing. But I feel like in the past things like this would throw me off. I feel like executive dysfunction for me really tends to come from uncertainty and feeling overwhelmed, both of which it made me feel like just randomly getting noticed, hey, your son's primary care provider, who has seen him since he was 5 years old, so for the last 6 years, is just suddenly no longer with us. He didn't give any notice or anything like that. He's just not, you can't see him anymore. And so in the past, like I said, that would have made me feel very thrown off, overwhelmed, and anxious. But I decided yesterday, I was like, okay, well, I have tomorrow off, so that's just going to be my whole task for tomorrow, is to find my son a new primary care provider. I cannot do anything else, or I don't have to do anything else, rather. That's the only goal I have for myself, because I know that my executive dysfunction really will make me put stuff off until the last minute. At least that's how it's been in the past for myself with medical appointments and stuff. I just put it off because I don't know what I don't know, and it feels like an insurmountable task at times. But so today, this is my only task for the day. It is only 9:34 and I have already completed it. As soon as I took my son to school, I was like, all right, it's time to start today's task. I got on the Healthy Blue website and cross-checked with the new providers website, got a call, then I got to call them, and it was too far in advance to set up because he just had his well child visit in September, and so he only needs that once a year, and they only schedule 3 months out in advance, which I totally understand. But I put myself on a remind list, basically, so when the time comes for his annual, they'll remind me, so I don't have to do that mental load of holding on to the memory of in September we've got a new doctor from now until then, right? I had to go and sign a record release so they could get all his old doctors stuff. But yeah, so an hour is all it took today. I didn't delay because this was literally all I had to do for myself. And I think that's my hack for the things that I feel give me executive dysfunction really bad. If you're not familiar with what executive dysfunction is, it's basically that feeling when you're oh my god, I have so many things on my to-do list, I better just sit there and be anxious. If that explains your life at all, that's called executive dysfunction. And it fucking sucks, because then you do nothing, and then you have extra to do the next day, and then it feels even more overwhelming, so you do nothing again. And if you have struggled at all with depression, it's a repetitive cycle to be stuck in, and it's not good. So since doing better mentally and hacking my brain and stuff, this has been the most successful technique for me for dealing with executive dysfunction, is literally just, if it's a big task that's giving me a lot of anxiety and I feel overwhelmed by it, I set aside one of my off days entirely, and I'm this is literally all I have to do. All I have to do. And suddenly it's easy because it's all I have to do. Now it's hard when I'm oh well, I gotta do dishes and I gotta do laundry and then I gotta have a phone call with something, and I gotta do this and that, and I have to find a new primary care provider. Then I just feel I can't do any of it. So breaking it into smaller tasks, breaking the big things into smaller tasks, I feel like is my hack for executive dysfunction. And granted, I probably do not struggle with it as badly as some people do with like ADHD, because I don't have ADHD, but you can still struggle with executive dysfunction in any kind of neurodivergency, you know. But yeah, so if you struggle with executive dysfunction, my advice, it's, you know, take it with a grain of salt, I'm just a person, but what's been working for me is just, if I have an off day and I have the task I feel like I'm gonna avoid, I just make that the only thing I have to do for the entire day. And guess what? I finished it in an hour. Because that's how most of the executive dysfunction shit is. It's like I can finish it in 30 to 60 minutes, and then I put it off for like 3 weeks because I'm like, I don't know if I can really do that. And it's so silly, like, really becoming aware of it. But that's like, I don't know, it's just something that happens in neurodivergent brains sometimes, you know? And so I just wanted to share my little neurodivergent brain hack with people, because honestly, this is going to be a great day. I can already tell. I have the rest of the day off. I can do whatever I want. I mean, I have to have a phone call with my son's therapist at 10 still, but even though I knew I had to do that, I did not make that my, like, mental orientation for the day. Because, see, this is another executive dysfunction kind of thing, or maybe just a neurodivergent thing. If I know that I have a call at 10 a.m., and that's, like, my task for the day, then I won't do anything until after that call. I didn't do that though this time. I was like, okay, that's not even part of what's on my radar for the task of today. Today's task was just find my son a new primary care provider in whatever capacity I could, whether that was making an appointment or whatever. But I had it all done. They will call me when it's time for his appointment next year in September. I know, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but they will call me instead. And so, yeah. And I already told them about all the, like, vaccinations he'll need then, and I sent the records over, so it's good. And I'm looking forward to having an even better rest of today. I'm definitely gonna do some painting, so yeah. I will talk to y'all later. I gotta have this call. Bye.